evening. My name is Kathy Van Ice, and I'm from Ashton Land Surveyor here in Muncie, 325 West Washington Street, Muncie, Indiana. The reason we're here tonight is we're asking for a vacation of Dill Street. And this is from Martin to North Street, just for that one block. This is for a future parcel of land that is to be developed into a community for sale ownership by people who are going to own the properties, as a more of a community that they can walk to and from work at IU Medical or Ball State University. And that's what the ownership is going to be. The layout of the property, we had hoped to show you a little presentation, but I'm not sure that the computers are going to show us. But the layout of the layout that we are wanting to do is we have 8 single units and other buildings that have like a condominium, multi-family structure on them. We do know that we have had contact with not just the neighborhood association, which we have their endorsement of it, but we have also reached out and had Ball State University give us their endorsement. I have letters for every one of them, and the area planning, Delaware County Metropolitan Plan Commission's endorsement of what our future goal is. In this property, I do know that there is a little concern for parking. The code requires for every bedroom you have a half a parking space. We far exceeded the parking requirement. On the 8 single units, there's 2-car parking in the garages, and then the ability to park 2 cars on the driveway. On the multifamily units, we also have they are only 2 bedrooms, but we have 2-car parking garages, and then they could park right behind them, plus 7 additional in the parking lot itself. I don't know if there's anything else I need to address with you, but what we are seeking to do tonight is to vacate Dill Street. The vacation of Dill Street is going to make it so it's more of a walking community, more of a kind of a different kind of community. It brings it together, not just the traffic. And we have asked for a traffic count. It does not, Dill Street does not even qualify as a street that gets enough traffic that the area planning keeps a traffic count on Dill Street, because it's not a through street. Our goal is to come from the alley off of Gilbert on the south, going north to North Street. And since North Street is a one-way, you would go back east and then come back south into the second alley. So our plan is to make it it is doable, but it is also going to make it so that people will not be driving through the community. So, have any questions for me?
Mr. Chair, may I? Oh, we can't. We can't. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay.
You can address it, obviously ask questions during the regular meeting.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody from the public would like to ask any questions? Hearing none, we'll adjourn the public hearing and see you at 7 o'clock. Thank you. We're adjourned.
Okay, put that question forward.
Is Wayne here?
All right.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out to our June 3rd, 2024 meeting. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Led by Councilwoman Powell.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have a moment of silence, please? Thank you. All right, I'm going to do our citizens recognition by Sarah Gullion.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I first met our awardee, Christiana Mann, when our kids were at East Washington Academy at the same time. She's a supporter of Muncie Community Schools like I am. And although our sons were a couple years apart, I watched her support students and faculty starting in elementary to Northside through Central. And I knew her as an involved mom, a hard worker, an entrepreneur, and a teacher. But I have a little more background on her than that now. Christiana is an assistant lecturer of hospitality, innovation, and leadership at Ball State University. Previously, she'd served as an adjunct faculty in the Department of Family and Consumer Science at Ball State, a doctoral fellow in wellness and gerontology in the College of Applied Science and Technology at Ball State, and as an adjunct faculty member in general studies at Ivy Tech. She also teaches the Impact X class as the Ball State liaison to the project. And she's also currently a Serve Safe manager, instructor, and proctor. And she runs Three Bears Concessions with her dad. And if you haven't, you need to try their lemonade or strawberry shake-ups or their ices if you see their truck around.
Yes, yes.
She has received numerous awards throughout her career and continues to further her knowledge and education through training programs. And she serves on various committees and boards at Ball State and in Muncie service organizations. The reason that I chose to recognize Christiana tonight, though, for this citizenship award is for her devotion to addressing the issue of food insecurity in our city. Through her efforts, Ball State was awarded a grant from the Efferson Fund of Central Indiana Community Foundation, which has allowed Ball State's student-run restaurant Allegre to offer free meals to those in need. Any food that's not used during the Allegre meal is then packaged for delivery to Muncie organizations to feed the hungry. The fact that she's helping people feed people would be enough. However, bringing the food insecurity issue into her classrooms and teaching students that one, hunger exists and that it's probably closer to them than they realized, and two, that they can be part of the solution, takes her work to another level, in my opinion. Instead of listening to me go on about her, though, I'm going to provide some quotes from those who've worked closely with her and attest to her commitment. And believe me, I had to edit these. They had a lot more to say, but I didn't want to take up the whole night with them. Christiana has served on the soup kitchen of Muncie board and volunteers with them. Loretta Parsons, the longtime director of the kitchen, had this to say about her. She brings her students to the kitchen to help prepare and serve food so they have a firsthand experience of seeing the faces of food insecurity. During the pandemic, she was helpful in guiding us with the CDC guidelines for quarantine. She and her students helped pack sack lunches and cooked food when we started serving again during the pandemic. She's even taught the board members how to make a nutritious meal within the guidelines required for meals served at schools. And she was also instrumental in getting us connected with Tawny Winery for Sip for Soup fundraisers, which has become an annual event, and she's working on that again this summer for them. The Common Market is one of the recipients of meals in the city, and co-owner Mike Martin says they receive 20 to 50 meals a week during the BSU school year. Part of the grant Christiana won covered packaging and labeling machine that ensures the meals shared meet federal safety guidelines in order to be distributed. He also shared that Christiana, along with her students and the Muncie Food Hub Partnership, has been hosting a free Friendsgiving at the market for the past 2 years, which is open to the community. Lastly, I'm going to read to you fairly verbatim a portion of a letter from Dr. Soteris Haji Augustus, the chair of Applied Business Studies at Ball State's Miller College of Business, under which Christiana works. Christiana has been instrumental in organizing and executing numerous food drives, fundraisers, and community outreach programs. Under her guidance, our efforts to combat food insecurity have yielded a significant increase in foundation grant support, especially with our partners at the Ephraimson Fund and volunteer participation, enabling us to serve more families and individuals than ever before. The Ephraimson support allows us to invite underprivileged community members to dine at the restaurant and package and distribute the excess meals for delivery. Christiana is deeply committed to addressing the root causes of food insecurity. She has worked closely with local government agencies, businesses, and nonprofits to advocate for sustainable solutions and policy changes supporting long-term food security. Her efforts have led to developing several community nutrition education programs. One of the most inspiring aspects of Christiana's work is her direct impact on the lives of the people she serves. She is known for her warmth, empathy, and willingness to listen, which has led to numerous heartwarming stories of how her kindness and support have transformed lives. For instance, when families shared how her nutrition education program helped them improve their health, while one Ball State student credited her mentorship for their academic success. These are just a couple of examples of the many lives she's touched. In summary, Christiana exemplifies the spirit of volunteerism and community service. Her contributions have provided essential support to those experiencing food insecurity and strengthened the fabric of our community. I think that sums it up way better than I would have said myself. Christiana, come get your award. Thanks for all you do.
Thank you. This is very humbling because it takes a lot of people to work on this huge issue, nationally, globally, but locally. 1 in 7 people are food insecure in Delaware County. 19,000 people in Delaware County are hungry. So food insecurity by definition is not knowing where your next nutritious meal is going to be. It's not that you don't have food, but it's you don't have access to good, healthy food. And we all know that good, healthy food then fuels our body and soul, and especially for our children when they're in school and trying to learn and get a good education, it's imperative that they have good, healthy, nutritious meals. So lots and lots of people are working very hard in our community, and I'm grateful to stand side by side with them. I'm thankful for the Common Market, for being an outlet, for the student contributions with Allegra, for the Soup Kitchen of Muncie, for Mr. Ball, for all of the people that call me and say, hey, can you come pick up this food that we need to find a place for that's been stored and transported securely and properly. So thank you. Thank you to all of my friends, and each one of us can do something to help combat this problem. So thank you. Mm-hmm.
Ever wonder if there's good people in Muncie, just tune into the first 5 or 10 minutes of these meetings and you'll see how many people we have that are making Muncie a really great place to be. So again, I echo Sarah's words, but I get the pleasure of announcing that we have a local celebrity in our midst. And so I would like to invite Leo Furlong up to the podium. Leo is is it 6th grader now? Is it 6th? So you finished? He's going at Burris Laboratory School. And last March, Leo won the Regional Spelling Bee, which earned him a spot at the National Spelling Bee this last week. With his trip to Washington, D.C., he gained all kinds of accolades and awards and gifts. I wanted to get him a plaque, but unfortunately wasn't able to. But I wanted to let him know how much the council appreciates his achievement, his bravery,
I mean, going to DC and spelling all day kind of stuff. But also just being such a wonderful ambassador for our city. I would also like to congratulate Mom and little sister. And in place of a plaque, we have gotten you a gift certificate to Baskin Robbins.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And a big spoon. And thank you very much. Like I said, it was a great achievement, and we're really proud of you, proud of the whole family. And thanks for making Muncie look good.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next month on the Citizenship Award would be Jerry Dishman, District 5. We're moving on to roll call, please.
Mr. Mason?
Here.
Ms. Selby?
Here.
Mr. McIntosh?
Here.
Mr. Green?
Here.
Ms. Powell?
Here.
Mr. Garrett?
Here.
Ms. Gillian?
Here.
Mr. Basham?
Here.
President Dishman?
Present. Okay, moving on for approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve or make any changes to the minutes of May 6, 2024?
So moved, accept.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Garrett?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Basham?
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gillian?
Yes.
Ms. Selby? Yes. Ms. Powell?
Yes.
President Dishman?
Yes.
9 yes.
Moving on to board appointments and commissions. I think we have one for the human rights tonight. Kim Miller.
No.
No, I'm sorry.
Stephen Nick.
Stephen Nick.
Nick.
Mint.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Nick.
Hello, commissioners, and happy Pride.
Happy Friday.
Brian, you too.
This is my first time coming to be reappointed, so I'm not sure what you need from me. I'm happy to answer any questions, talk about my time if you want. You direct me as you see.
Is Ms. Thompson here?
I do not see her, no.
Mr. President. I worked with Mr. Nick on the Muncie Human Rights Commission while I was president. One term, he was the vice president. He's very dedicated, very similar to Kim Miller. He puts in a lot of time. He takes it very seriously, and he cares about people. So from my past experience working side by side with him on the Muncie Human Rights Commission, I think they are in great hands under his leadership, because he was, during my last meeting, he was nominated as the president of the Muncie Human Rights Commission. So I just wanted
Yes,
to.
thank you, Ro.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I had a nomination for the human rights. After speaking with her, she's familiar with this man, and she said to go ahead and appoint him because he would be good for human rights.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I like hearing that.
That's,
That's wonderful.
it sold me.
Anybody else? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. Selby?
Yes.
Ms. Powell?
Yes.
Ms. Gillian?
Yes.
Mr. Garrett?
Yes.
Mr. Basham?
Yes.
Mr. McIntosh?
Yes.
Mr. Mason?
Yes.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
President Dishman?
Yes.
9 yes.
Congratulations.
Sure. Thank you, Councilman. I really appreciate your consideration on this. It is a privilege to be able to serve the community specifically in this way.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen.
Is there any committee reports tonight? Is Zane Bishop here? Oh, there he is.
Good evening. I am Zane Bishop, and along with Andrew Dale, I'm one of your appointments to the Muncie Redevelopment Commission. We just wanted to provide a brief update of what's being shared with us and our time so far on the commission. Last month, the MRC Executive Director, Jeff Howe, he presented kind of a net balance for the MRC through all accounts, and that includes projected income and projected expenses through 2024, and that sits at around $2 million. The Storer Estates, Sportsplex, and former Downtown Y properties, they're all currently owned by the MRC, but it's anticipated that they'll be transferred to the developers this year. The Markets on Madison development, which is at the Southway Plaza, it was reported to us that project has stalled. Right away along Columbus Street in McKinley, just across from the high school, is being purchased to widen the road. The former Kincannon's location at that corner of Columbus and Walnut, it had been presented to the commission for the MRC to take an option to purchase the property. Andrew and I both felt that, just let it go to a private sale. We didn't want to take on the expenses or lose any tax revenue. A couple months passed, ends up that it will actually go to a private sale. I don't know the specific details of that, but it does sound like it's going to be in new hands without the MRC's involvement. The White River Lofts Phase 2, which is over here at the former site of the High Street Square, and then the buildings that were behind that, and reported to us that it no longer has a developer. However, the city is moving forward with kind of like a greenery and art installment kind of at the point there at Franklin and High. Parks have continued to be upgraded using, in part, the money from the Muncie Redevelopment Commission, and that includes the Till Pond off 12th and Tillotson, and then a skate park at Westside. The city, the MRC, we're kind of been in talks with helping fund the Muncie Land Bank, specifically Andrew and I. I mean, everyone voted, for kind of a small allotment toward them, but Andrew and I in particular are pushing forward with trying to fully fund their ask. We believe that the Muncie Land Bank not only fulfills the mission of the MRC and what redevelopment commissions were initially established for, but also believe that, we need to deal with our existing neighborhoods, our existing, structures, our existing built environment before necessarily looking outward. So those are kind of in discussions, and so the MRCs, and Andrew and I are all kind of continuing those conversations. Angie Hibner, who's the new executive director of the Downtown Development Partnership, a few months ago, she brought to the MRC's attention a list of non-compliant ADA ramps downtown, and I don't know that was on anyone's radar, and she took it upon herself to kind of bring that up and ask the MRC for the funds to fix those immediate needs. So those were funded. I think they're being installed and continue to be installed this summer. She's also working on using the annual allotment that downtown development receives from the MRC. She's working on like a retail incubator space and program that will be in downtown. Been really happy with the work that she's been bringing to the Muncie Redevelopment Commission. Andrew has been bringing up concerns that the minutes of the commission are not fully reflecting the discussions leading up to any action by the Redevelopment Commission. And then for myself, I brought up concerns about access of public information to the public, and those have in part been addressed. And I've asked for a list of all properties that the MRC owns and doesn't have an idea for, or they're not hauled up in something, and that the MRC controls through other entities. And I'm waiting on that information. So that's kind of what I have. Are there any questions from council?
Yeah, I do, if I may. The ballpark, thank you for helping with the ADA, fixing the pavements that needed ADA accessibility. Can I ask you about how much was spent? Because there are other concerns of other neighborhood associations that have come up, and they needed help with, accessibility for the residents. Is MRC the place to go? Or no?
I would start with the mayor and the public works department first. I don't know the exact triage. I think Angie came to us because we're already funding downtown development, and it's kind of a key focus area with other projects. But I think I want to say it was around 100,000, but plus or minus.
And if I may make a comment, thank you for coming here. And you said that you're working on access of information to the public, and what you did today was a great example of that. So thank you for taking the time.
Mr. President, I have a question. Southside Plaza, you talked about the development being stalled. Could you go into depth on that and explain what's happening?
Yeah, I only have as much information as was given to us. I know, the city was in talks with them for a while. I think it was more of a financing issue. I know the city has or had planned to, put some money into that property, specifically with redevelopment commission funds. And when I asked about that, the MRC director did not know whether that had already happened. So I don't know the commitment that's already been taken, but as far as I know, it was more of a financing issue with the developer.
Okay. So you don't know if they're going to go further through the MRC to do more work in the interior of the parking lot area?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't believe any other work will be spent, with redevelopment commission funds. But I wasn't, when I asked, I didn't receive an answer as to whether or not money had already gone in.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here and reporting on, giving us an update on the MRC. In addition to you and Andrew, could you remind us who the other members are?
Yeah, the mayor's appointments are President Isaac Miller, Shireen Wagley, and then Steve Cabela.
Okay, thank you. And if I may, could you give us a brief update on the skate park? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the only thing I remember, I think they were receiving bids. The last I knew that they weren't available, but I think they were in like the RFP process or in the bidding process or however they went through that.
You mentioned that you'd like to be able to give the full ask to the land bank.
Yes.
What is the full ask?
I believe their request was 150,000 annually.
Thanks.
One more question, if I may. So how do you think that's going to go from the MRC? Could you actually elaborate how supporting the land bank goes with the mission of the MRC for the public?
Yeah, I can actually read the mission that was given to us for the Muncie Redevelopment Commission. From the annual report, it says the main purpose of the MRC is to create opportunity for development and growth, investment, and jobs with a focus in the more blighted areas of Muncie. MRC oversees business development opportunities and is authorized to acquire and dispose of abandoned residential properties. And I believe, whether or not it's, positive, I think, the redevelopment commissions have expanded over the years to be more involved with, larger projects. But the original state code was that, it would be mainly handling blighted areas, like, existing blighted areas, not like, let's tear stuff down and then it'll sit for a while and then it isn't de facto blighted.
Mr. Bishop, is there anything that's being done? I mean, it's been finished. You got a skateboard park that's not been finished. You got a Southside Plaza not finished. And you got a redevelopment, not redevelopment, but over on A Street, the building that they bought is going to make it for a rehab center. It's fell through now. Is there anything that's been accomplished?
My appointment started in February, and I know the MRC moved through a lot of action before they had a special meeting, I think just before the February city council meeting, to push a lot through. I know that included a lot of the projects I've already named. In terms of what's been accomplished, I do know that they've funded a lot of parks, and a lot of those improvements have already been completed. Of course, some of these are, larger scale projects, so there's not an expectation that they'd be finished in, 6 months, a year. But, we certainly have concerns, Andrew and I, that, there's engagement more in speculative action when there's stuff that can be accomplished right now. I believe in the February meeting, we also received an ask from Delaware Dynamics to fund a demolition of some properties they own to expand their campus. But again, that's also like a longer term project.
Yeah, the Parks Department's done an excellent job all over town. I have no qualms with the Parks Department. They've done an excellent job, but all these other things, is they started and they haven't finished.
I know phase 1 of the White River Lofts was an MRC project before my time. And I don't know the numbers of how it all worked out, but it has seems like been a successful project and significantly raised the assessed values of that property. But I don't know how much went in. And again, that was before my appointment.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I have one more.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. To be honest with you, I love the Muncie Land Bank. Councilman Garrett and I, a couple years back, worked on redoing the vacant and blighted home ordinance. And I know they're doing progress there. But could you, just to let the public know, could you explain how supporting the land bank would actually save taxpayers money too, and help out the building commissioner's office to tackle some of these blighted homes?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, yeah, a lot of the, vacant and blighted properties, even like overgrown lots, all that runs through the building commissioner's office to enforce. But, there's legal processes where you have to notice the landowners, and then you have to administrate all of the details in order to lead to any action, including mowing, boarding, and then any eventual work on the property. With the Muncie Land Bank, they can just acquire those properties, do the same work, but without having to notice the property owners, because they are the property owner. They don't have to wait to take action with public notices and hearings, because again, they are the property owner, so they can work more directly. And something that the building commissioner's office can't really do is find the end user to do something with the property, whether that's take over the vacant lot or rehab the structure. The Muncie Land Bank, the key, one of the key purposes of it is they can vet, good buyers, they can find buyers. So they not only secure the property in the short term, but also can find a long-term solution who will do something with the property, make it better for the neighborhood, and eventually be paying taxes on it.
Thank you so much.
I have one thing. Mr. Bishop, does the MRC have any hand in the Till Pond project?
I believe they are funding it in part, yes.
Okay. Do you know where we're at on that? Or if, I know we've got it mowed down finally, but that's really about it. And is there any news of moving forward or another phase or anything like that?
Not that we've heard. We asked for an update at the last meeting and didn't receive much of a current status. Yeah.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to Mr. Bishop. I worked with you quite a bit of years. You do a great job for the city. You're an asset, and thanks for coming today and speaking. So we appreciate you, and I know especially how much hard work you put into this. You take it home with you and everything. So we greatly appreciate you.
Thank you all for your time and your appointment.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop. Dr. Chip Taylor, could you come up and say a few words for us?
I'm Chip Taylor. I'm here on behalf of the Ethics Advisory Committee, and I wanted to invite anybody who's interested in our work to come to our June meeting. It will be June 20th at 7:30 p.m. It's at Kennedy Library, which is a different location than we've been in the past. We're at Kennedy Library this month. So right now we're in discussion of the enforcement part of the instructions that were given to us in the resolution. And so we're discussing that part. And we're also beginning to take another look at the ethics standards that we put out for comment. We got some feedback back. And so we're taking a second look at those. I want to thank the city clerk and whoever maintains the website. The Ethics Advisory Committee, we now have a page on the city's website. And so you can find it, if you go to the boards and commissions page, you'll find us listed there, and you can click through and you can get agendas and minutes and this, sort of things that you can get for the other boards and commissions there, a lot more convenient. So thank you for your help with all that. And so that's
Taylor, can you tell me what the time was, June 20th at the library?
7:30 p.m.
7:30.
Kennedy Library.
I'll try to make it.
Okay, great. We had Councilwoman Selvey there, one of our early meetings, and we have a small group of citizens that are kind of interested in what's going on, and have provided us a lot of good feedback. We're glad to have all the feedback that we can get.
Anyone else?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Normally, Mr. Rob Kiesling from AP would be here to do a Tillotson project update, and this one's kind of important for District 2, District 4. The next traffic shift will take place this Wednesday, June the 5th. Tillotson will be one lane in each direction between Riverside and south side of Euclid. Petty Avenue east of Tillotson will be closed, so that intersection will be closed. You will not be able to cut through that neighborhood to get to campus if you're coming from west of Tillotson. They expect that phase to last through August. So that will be, plan your routes accordingly. And if you should happen to make it into campus, Ball State's doing a project and the intersection of McKinley and Riverside, and that will be closed in the middle of June. So you're welcome. I will make sure to give the clerk the graphics that they've sent me, just so that you can look either at the city Facebook page or at my Facebook page, and all of the counselors. I'll send that to you as well. I just received it today. So that is all.
Thank you, Ms. Powell.
Thank you.
Moving on to new ordinances. Ordinance 1124.
Ordinance 11-24, an ordinance to vacate a portion of a certain right-of-way in the city of Muncie, Delaware County, Indiana.
Is there a motion for an introduction of ordinance?
So moved.
1124.
Second.
I second.
Okay, been a motion and a second. Anyone wishing to speak on ordinance 1124?
Good evening. Thank you to the counselors.
Can you state your name and address, please?
Yes, my name is Adam Branscombe, and I work with a company called Fairmount Properties. I live in Ohio. Would you like my company address? No? Okay. I'm seeing you nodding your head. We're here on behalf of Ball State University. We're working on a large-scale reinvestment, redevelopment within the village. Several of those projects have already begun. I know that there's a couple of items that have been before this council and various other bodies here in Muncie. Just quickly want to introduce, we also have our home building partner, Trademark Construction, is here. I'm going to turn it over to Kathy in a moment to kind of go through the actual item that's on the agenda tonight. But if I could, I apologize. We had brought some slides that we were prepared to share with you tonight, but I think we're unable to do that. But I've given Councilwoman Powell a copy of our presentation. We're happy to distribute that or put it onto a website if that would be useful for everybody. We're here today to talk about what we call Site 5. There are 5 sites that we're redeveloping in the village. Site 5, I think we're particularly excited about because it's really in keeping with a lot of things that we've heard from a lot of the community input sessions that we've held for the last 18 months or so. And that's the creation of for sale, owner-occupied housing within the village. I think everybody recognizes that it's very student-centric today. There's a lot of student rentals today. So we're extremely excited to be presenting a plan to develop 25, give or take, for sale homes. These would be a mix of detached homes with nice 2-car garages, as well as attached townhomes. great public green space and walking paths, plenty of parking. So appreciate the opportunity to be here today. What we want to talk about specifically is the vacation, the partial vacation of Dill Street. And what that will do is create a nice village green right really central within this residential community that we're proposing. So I'll turn it over to my colleague Kathy, and she can talk a little bit more about the proposal. Thank you.
Good evening. Again, my name is Kathy Van Ice, and I'm from Ashton Land Surveyor here in Muncie. I did give a real quick synopsis because I knew I was on a timeline, but tonight I'd like to slow down a little bit and give you the parameters of where this property is located. On the west, you'll see that's Martin Street. On the north, it's North Street. On the east, it would be Dick's, but we're a half a block in, so we're at the alley. And on the south would be Gilbert Street. We have done an ALTA survey of the property. When we vacate Dill Street, there is a combination sewer and there is a 2-inch water line within that right of way. The 2-inch water line does not have enough pressure to be able to service the new homes. We will be having to come from the bigger water line, which is at the corner of North Street and Martin, and bring it across on north and bring it south. Gas and electric are all on the perimeter or in the alley. Nothing else is in actual Dill Street. In the ordinance that has been written up, it does say that there will be no, that it is not vacating any of the rights of the utilities as they sit today. It does say that in the verbiage of the ordinance. Also, as we all know, the combination sewer has to be used for sanitary only. It cannot be used for storm. There is a storm structure on our design, and it does go up to North Street and exit on North Street in a storm sewer that is already in play. Again, these are 8 homes on the south end with a 2-car garage, detached garage, and it does have room for a car, 2 cars on the outside in their driveway. On the north, the townhouses, there are 17 units. They're multifamily townhouses with parking garages underneath. Then there will be 7 extra parallel parking for several of them, and then like 3 of them are going to be just a regular parking. There is an area for a gazebo, and if we are able to close Dill will have a walking path. It is closing it for traffic, but not for foot traffic. So I hope that makes it a little clearer. I'm sorry I was a little fast, but I didn't know how long I had. So do you happen to have any questions for us on this?
Mr. President.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Basham.
Just remind us, I think you earlier said it, but there are currently no structures on this property.
That is correct.
And so in the short term, there will be no traffic impacted.
That is true. That is true too. Right now, there are no homes left on these premises. So, the other thing that I did say was I had reached out to the area planning for an impact of traffic, and I actually have Kylene from the Delaware County Muncie Planning Commission here that she can speak on the impact on traffic and also their endorsement. So we also do have the letters. I hope you did receive them.
We did.
From Ball State and the neighborhood.
Do you have any, excuse me, any landowners that's upset with this? Or?
No. The homeowners association or the Riverside Normal?
Riverside Normal City.
Yes, Normal City have given us a letter of endorsement. One of the nice things about the group that is here tonight is they have been very open with open meetings and meeting with the neighborhood association so that they could all see the idea and the plan. And this has been real transparent.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
I would assume that the neighborhood association would be behind this with for sale homes. As nice as you're going to be, is not going to do anything but make your property value go up. So that's really nice to see the for sale homes and what you're doing in that area. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I want to echo what you said, that the Fairmont Group has been very communicative with the neighborhood associations. One of the things that I wanted my fellow council persons to know is that when they first approached me about this, I said they needed to go back and talk to public safety, both police and fire, to see if there would be any impact in public safety services for the residents, and there was absolutely nothing. So they did do their due diligence in that regard, and there wasn't any issues. They've been very, very communicative with the neighborhood associations, and that's all good. So I appreciate that. Thank you. It makes my job easier.
It's easy to understand why you're known as the Cadillac Standard.
Well, thank you. Yeah, they are. So.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Kylene Swackhammer from the Muncie Metropolitan Plan Commission. I had submitted a letter just with our general support. We've been involved in the early review and discussions of the development plans at this site. So I submitted a letter earlier, just in general support of the vacation of that section of Dill Street. And you all did receive that letter, but I also just brought another letter with me that I will submit to you just in regards to the traffic flow. So we do not foresee any negative effects on traffic flow. And like Kathy said, this section of Dill Street is a local road categorized. So there has been no traffic studies from NDOT or from local our office because of the low volume in the area. No traffic studies have been done, and is not on our list to do the local traffic counts in a revolving manner. Also, I just attached a couple of maps of traffic flow, and it just kind of does show that the higher amount of traffic flow that's north and south traffic flow occurs on McKinley Avenue, Nichols Avenue, and Linden Street. So it's not within this immediate area of Dill Street. So I can submit those as well, but I just wanted to be here to offer my office's support in the vacation of the street and then also the development plans.
Thank you. Anyone else from the council? Anyone from the audience? Anybody from the audience? Seeing nobody from the audience. Are there any further discussions from the council? None. All in favor of introducing, say aye.
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 All opposed, same. Ayes have it. Thank you very much. Ordinance 1224.
Ordinance 12-24, an ordinance amending ordinance 24-23, fixing the maximum salaries of each and every appointed officer, employee, deputy, assistant, departmental, and institutional head of the city of Muncie, Indiana, included herein for the year 2024.
Is there a motion for introduction?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there anyone here to speak on this?
Good evening. We wanted to go ahead and first of all, I want to say that the mayor could not be here this evening. His mother had a heart attack today, so I'm hearing she should be okay. So, but he is with her where he should be. So just keep him and her in our thoughts and prayers, and we greatly appreciate it. We got to decided as the city to go ahead and give the workers 10% that we offered. We felt like they deserved it. And we wanted to go ahead and move on with that. So that is why we're going ahead and introducing this, and we've already started it. So this is a salary ordinance to go along with it. With that, I'll just open it up to any questions.
Anybody from the council?
When did it start?
May 1st.
Anyone else have any questions?
Can I ask why this wasn't done prior to, why the salary ordinance wasn't changed prior to spending the additional monies?
Well, as far, we sent out, the reason why we did it was on the Indiana Code 36-4-7-3, that the compensation fixed under the section may be increased or decreased by the executive during the budget year for which it is fixed. It was the mayor brought it to us and said, hey, let's go ahead and do this and make it May 1st. And as far as getting a salary ordinance together, it was too late as far as getting it introduced for May. So that's why it's in June.
Well, that state statute does allow the executive to increase salaries, but there's still procedure to be followed, which is to amend the salary ordinance so that those salary ordinances are in line with what you're paying. So I do agree that that state code allows you to increase salaries during the budgetary year, but it doesn't allow you to violate city code.
We're just the Indiana code. We did follow the code on that. We're bringing it in front of you to pass. I mean, if you don't want to pass the increases, you have the prerogative to do that as the city council. So
My question was just why the proper procedure wasn't followed.
it was brought to us, and like I said, he wanted to go ahead and give the raises because he felt like they needed it. I mean, our employees are underpaid, grossly underpaid anyway. So, and that's why, it was too late as far as to bring it last month. So we're doing it this month.
Mr. President.
Yeah.
You say it was brought to you. I don't know what you mean.
The mayor had said, hey, let's go ahead and do this.
So the mayor
Yes.
did that without
Yes.
before coming to the council.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, this salary ordinance, is that for everybody?
It's not for elected officials. No.
Okay. Did the street department get their raise?
Yes.
They did. When did they get it?
We gave 10% across the board.
When the rest of them got it?
10%.
That's news. Excuse me.
Yeah.
May I just
Yeah,
clarify?
yeah.
So all the city workers in Muncie, except elected officials, have been receiving this raise since
May
the 1st of March.
Yeah.
1st of May.
May.
Right.
Yeah. And it does not affect part-time.
Right.
Now, have they got their contract settled?
Well, we still have not. We're in negotiations still, and
How
we've
can
got a meeting coming
How
up.
can you do that?
So,
When it's
well,
not even negotiated.
we're going by the Indiana Code 36-4-7-3.
That's not right when they don't even have, they may have wanted more.
Right.
They got an open contract and it's not settled yet.
It's like
I
I
don't know how
said,
you
it's,
give somebody a raise when they don't even have a contract.
well, the contract expired December 31st from last year. So we were in negotiations for this year, and the mayor had decided, let's go ahead and give them the 10%, which is what police fire received. So it is in line with that. So.
Do we have any idea when you can tell us if we're not allowed to know, but when talks are going to be resumed with ASME? Are they ongoing? Are they?
Richard, you know what the date on that on your calendar is? I know. Is it 12? Okay.
12?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question.
June 12th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you doing it this way, is that going to set the stage, or are you making it now a procedure that from now on, anytime you give the fire and police
No.
a raise, it'll be 10 across?
No, we just felt like it was fair. That was
But what wouldn't make it fair the next time? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.
And then the police and fire, you say you're giving it the same amount, but the police and fire, they started when with the 10% increase?
Well, their contracts were settled earlier and
When
we
was
were
that
in
again?
negotiations and we wanted to go ahead and give a 10% raise.
And when was that again?
Pardon?
And when was that again that police and fire got their
Beginning of the year,
January.
January. Yeah.
So,
Is this retroactive to January?
No, it is not.
Does it? Was it discussed to possibly suspend the rules and ask for the salary ordinance to be amended at the last meeting so it would have been in compliance with the city ordinance?
I did not ask
You
for that.
discussed
No.
with the mayor perhaps scheduling a special meeting so that we could have addressed it and been in compliance with city ordinance?
So I did not.
Okay.
anyone else? Anyone from the audience?
Nate Burgess. I'm the president of ASHME Local 3656. I come before you to ask you to go ahead and table this. Of course, we do need a raise. We definitely do. But we also need a whole contract brought to you guys first, not just bits and pieces. The 10% was offered right at the end, but it had consequences that we did not accept. That's about as far as I want to go with it.
Mr. Wright said that your contract expired. Does this contract that has expired, does it have an evergreen clause?
It does. The city's position is that it expired. Our position is it did not.
Could you explain for those of us who aren't in unions what an evergreen clause is?
So an evergreen clause, if you and an administration cannot get along, cannot come to terms, the evergreen clause just follows year after year after year. Instead of being against the clock where a bad administration could just wait you out and your contract's done and over. And we do have an evergreen clause.
Okay, so just for clarification, if your contract that you're working under expires December 31st and you haven't settled negotiations, the evergreen clause will carry that contract and you'll work under that contract for a set period of time that will be in the contract.
Correct.
So
Correct. During McShirley, we use the evergreen clause all 4 years.
okay, I was curious.
That's what I was going to do.
Mr. Garrett?
Yeah. Is there any, maybe you can or can't tell us, but is there any ongoing or current arbitrations that would be under this evergreen clause that we have right now that is kind of, that would not carry over into the new one if they didn't want to recognize that?
Paperwork has been filed on arbitration. As far as what I filed it on, it's bad business to share them until it's done and over. Reidenhauer did reach out. We do have a meeting on the 12th. I'm really hopeful that we can put most of this to bed. So.
I just want to make sure that you and your membership understand that my objection to what happened in regards to the raise has nothing to do with the fact that you haven't earned the raise. It's that the city is not complying with city ordinance and they're spending money that they haven't been approved to spend. It has nothing to do with the fact that you are working very hard and have earned every penny of that. It's more of a rule of law.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
I do have a question. Are you able to tell us as counselors, what's the biggest hangup? Not tell us everything. Can you tell us one thing and don't go like in details? Like if I want to know what the hangup is, what can you tell me?
Well, we have a meeting the 12th, so I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, so to speak. I'm hoping that everything's done and over.
I
so.
apologize. I didn't mean to sound.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to understand
Yeah,
more
you're
what's
good.
going on. Thank
So
you.
you're hopeful.
I'm very hopeful. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, and just for clarification, you're asking us to table this and
Please.
table it, why?
Because I'd much rather my whole contract come to you instead of just bits and pieces. And like I said, when that 10% was offered, it had consequences that we was not good with.
And so you're,
And we have not had a chance to see if them consequences are still there or not, and they may be gone. And we may come back and be like, hey,
and
let's
so
pass it.
there's a possibility, I'm sorry, Mr. President. And so there's a possibility that if we were to adopt this ordinance, your union and the other civilian workers could be out 5 months worth of the 10% salary.
Correct.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Anyone else?
Would tabling this impact the raises which have already been received and in some cases spent?
I mean, if they wanted to come and take the money back, I guess. I mean, it possibly could.
Oh.
Is that a question for Mr. Wright?
Yeah, I agree. We have no intentions on.
I didn't think, yeah.
So, Mr. Wright, this question is for you. If this is tabled, will you continue to spend money that you're not authorized to spend?
Well, we would like to continue to pay them. I will say that.
Of course.
I mean, you know, it's that would be the response that I would like to give you is yes.
So right now, this would be a State Board of Accounts finding, correct?
No, not according to the Indiana code.
No, sir. You're spending money that you're not, that has not been.
We have
It's outside of the ordinance.
We factored in appropriations on that when we did the budget this last year for this year. And we also, you know, as far as additional appropriations on this, we may not need additional appropriations. I mean,
I'm not asking if you need an additional appropriation. I'm saying that Ordinance 24-23 sets the maximum amount of hourly wages that you're allowed to pay these employees. You are spending 10% more than that, which has not been appropriated, which has not been set in salary ordinance. So yes, unfortunately, this would be a State Board of Accounts finding at this point in time.
That's, like I said, we were going by Indiana Code 36-4-73.
I can forward you the email from the State Board of Account field rep.
Okay.
I will do that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. President, I guess that's my question too, to our council is, are we outside of, you know, code to continue, if they continue paying and we are tabling this?
I mean, it's the administration's job to pay the wages. I mean, you can't control if they're being paid or not.
Right.
You're being asked to approve what they have already started doing.
Mhm.
It is up for introduction.
Mhm.
I would recommend just introducing it. Don't table it until after they've had the chance to have their meeting. If you need to table it next month because you're not approving it tonight.
Right.
But I
Right.
would certainly at least get it on the table so action can be taken next month, one way or the other.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone from the audience?
Just real quick, my staff and the court staff are not part of ASME, so it says civil city. I just want to verify that my staff and the court staff are also included in this, since it doesn't specifically say city clerk or city court. Okay, just checking. I just want it on record.
Audie Barber, on the record. The contract's up again. Negotiations are up again for the contract that's not been renewed yet. So December 31st, the contract they don't have at this time is going to be up. So from January to May, they're going to have to, once they get the contract settled, they're going to have, the city administration is going to have to go back and pay these folks back pay. So you guys need to keep that in consideration too, that these folks have worked for 5 or 6 months without the raise that everybody else in the city has received. So just look out for the employees.
The administration can fight for themselves, but the employees need you guys to fight for them. Thank you.
Anyone else from the audience? One last time for the council. Anybody from the council? Okay, hearing none. Do I have a motion to, well, we just have a roll call vote. I mean, not roll call, but all in favor of this, introducing this ordinance, say aye.
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 All opposed, same. Ordinance 13-24.
Ordinance 13-24, an ordinance to amend the City of Muncie Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance from the F Farming Zone and 2 Intense Industrial Zone to the MHP Mobile Home Park Zone on premises located at 2800 West Memorial Drive, Muncie, Indiana.
Is there a motion for introduction of this ordinance?
I so move.
A second.
Second.
Been a motion and a second. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this?
My name's Debbie Arnold. I'm the manager of Freedom Acres. The mobile homes were set, according to my records, in 1973 before the zoning act. And there's mobile homes there now. They've been trying to get this switched for years. My company bought them out December 28th, and we're just trying to get it straightened out.
Sure.
Is anyone from the council wishing to speak on this? No questions? Anyone from the audience? Okay, all in favor of the ordinance, say aye.
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 All opposed, same. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think we have any resolutions tonight. We have one tabled ordinance. Do we have any other business? Okay, I'm going to open up for the audience comment.
Okay. Daisy Dale.
Given that record requests aren't being provided to members of the public and even some elected officials apparently, I'm genuinely curious what can be done because I know people who've had to jump through hoops trying to find information, even coming close to having to send formal complaints to Indiana's public access counselor just to figure out how to navigate something that should already be accessible. I do want to add that if what I'm asking for is partisan, I want to emphasize the fact that this also impacts historic preservation too. For example, I know members in the community are interested in researching how redlining has affected Muncie. And trying to find early zoning ordinances would be entirely relevant to that. Or for instance, I made a request for 3 different downtown master plans dating back to the 1960s, and it took over a month and a half for them to ultimately tell me they didn't have any of it. One of them I was able to find at the archives at Ball State, but with the vast majority of city documents, we can't expect it all to be salvaged like that. So if we have departments that are overwhelmed like HR, what's the possibility of appropriating more funding so they can focus on record requests? Maybe there could be an effort to digitize more documents, maybe better efforts for bookkeeping or archiving.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm taking notes. Steve Craig.
Hi, Steve Craig. My comment's really about the Southway Plaza. Mr. Bishop talked about it earlier. Councilperson Green spoke about it at our Southway or Southside Neighborhood Association meeting earlier this month. And stalled just is not good enough. I mean, we want answers. We don't want stalled. So when we got projects going on in the city and we're just stalled, that's not good enough. So if we start something, we want it done. We want to know why it's not done. So thank you. Yeah.
I actually contacted the mayor and asked him about that project because there was a question about even the beautification.
Yeah, they're
money.
supposed to do some playground equipment there as well.
Yes, sir. And what I was told, and I just was trying to let you, that won't be done until the developer actually makes a move.
So it's stalled.
Unfortunately. Yeah, but
All right, thank you.
I at least tried to find out, so.
Thank you, Councilman. All right, Mary Stilts.
Good evening, Mary Stilts. I want to commend all of you for working together a little bit more than what it started out the first of the year. All of you counselors need to remember to lose that DNR when you come into a meeting. You're not a Democrat, you're not a Republican, you're not an independent, you're a representative of the voters of Muncie. I appreciate you all trying and working hard to do that. Southway Plaza is horrible. I keep going out there. It's disgusting. And we need to get on them. The last thing nobody's mentioned tonight, which I'm really impressed, is the retreat that has been set up for the 9th, the 7th and 8th. And a lot of people have been getting a lot of hassles online, a lot of complaints, a lot of, is this legal? Is this legal? But after talking to people and understanding more about what's going to be going on, I respect and appreciate all of you for trying to work together if you can go. And learning which departments you need to go to get something done. A lot of people don't realize you got to go to the building commissioner to get a yard mowed that's sitting on the corner next to your house that's overgrown and mosquito infested. A couple of counselors don't know that, especially newer counselors. They don't know who to go to. This will give them the opportunity to learn and to get with those department heads and find out where they need to go for each thing. So for all the naysayers that think this is all a joke, it may be or may not be. Let's give it a chance. For those that are in support of it, all the better. It gives all of us a chance to find out what's going on in all the different departments and to give you guys an opportunity to learn where to go. So I appreciate what you're doing and thank you.
Thank you.
You.
Audie Barber.
Audie Barber. It was mentioned earlier that we have lost the contractor for the loft, second phase of the loft, I believe is what he said. So the money we've spent on, and I say we, taxpayers of Muncie, to buy them buildings, tear them down, fix the concrete, whatever. Now we're going to put green space in there instead of having the lofts go in. Maybe as a council, maybe we can determine why we lost the contractor on that for the second phase and find out what's going on with it. There's like everybody has said tonight, there's a bunch of projects that's been started by this administration that has not been completed. You got the Till Pond. It took a year to get a new gate put in at Chevy to keep people from going inside the contaminated soil area. There's nothing going on there. There's nothing going on. Second phase of the loft. Now we know why the second phase of the loft hasn't started. South side, we spent a lot of money going in there and tearing the parking lot up to where the parking lot now does not drain properly. So we got a big lake there when it rains pretty heavily. So that is a problem. I know the taxpayers did spend quite a bit of money on taking that asphalt out to make it flood like that. So that is a big problem. I know the money the mayor gets each year is about $4 million, the edit money, a little over $4 million. That's a lot of money, folks. And if we're allowing this mayor administration to spend $4 million on stuff that isn't getting finished, right over here's an example of it. We got the old jail sitting right here. We've put $1.5 million in that as taxpayers, and it's still not done. Still not done. So, you know, that's a problem. That's a problem. I mentioned last month that maybe you guys need to make a ordinance to where if you're a city employee, you cannot be a contracted employee. Nobody's brought that up. Guys, we've got to work together to make this happen, to keep these people from stealing our money as taxpayers in this town. It's going out the door faster than it can come in. And if you put limits on it as a council, and then they go over your head and go ahead and give the 10% raises anyhow, then you guys as a council need to tighten it up on them a little bit. And that's when the DNR goes out the door also. Because all Republicans and all Democrats should make sure that this money is being spent correctly in the proper areas, and that it's not going to double dipping for employees that are contracted. And people would like to know the status on some of the employees that are at question, and nobody will give answers. So there's no answers from this administration. And I'm challenging you as a council to hold this administration responsible to give you guys the answers that the public deserves. We deserve it. We deserve it. We pay the taxes. That's our money that he is spending in there. Our money. People that's been in this community, that's our money. And for not knowing where that $4.2 million goes each year, that's a lot of damn money. And a lot of things can happen with $4.2 million that's not going into the jail that somebody got for gave $600,000. The city gave them $600,000 to remodel it, and we're still giving them money today on it. So I'm challenging you guys all as council members to hold this mayor accountable. Thank you.
And Christopher Bilbrey.
Okay, Christopher Bilbrey. First and foremost, I am not a fan of the mayor, but I do want to say, politics aside, my thoughts and prayers go out with him and his family. You know, at the bottom line, we're all human, and I hated to hear that. So I do want to say that before we start. Last month, I was here talking first about your communication or lack thereof. Specifically, I called out Councilor Basham by name. Over the last month, I have had the occasion to email you all either in a groups or one-on-one or a couple at a time. And I find it amazing that I'm still having trouble getting responses from more of you than I should. Republicans, Green and Basham, almost still refuse to be able to email at 6 months in. I did receive, after 3 weeks, a 2-letter word from Councilor Green last night. I guess that's good enough. However, Basham refuses to communicate. I mean, do you just plan to not answer any questions for the entire time you're here of me? You just plan to answer no questions? You just plan to answer no questions? Okay, that is sadly ridiculous, and it makes you look like a fool. Okay, moving on. That's not just for Mr. Basham though. Mr. Dishman can't answer emails, but I will give him a little bit of a pass because he at least will pick up the phone to respond to me. That's fine because I have his phone number, but not every citizen out here does. You guys need to be able to be responsive to people that don't have your phone number. Hell, I've got Basham's phone number and he won't answer me through text or call either. So, you know, it's just all the same there. Moving on, reference the retreat. Can I get a show of hands of the counselors that plan to attend the retreat Friday and Saturday? Basham and Selby. Okay.
But I let them know this afternoon that I'm not going.
Okay, you are not.
But I was planning on
Okay.
going, yes.
Okay, so you're not going. So far, the only person from the council that's going is Mr. Basham. I appreciate your answer. I appreciate that. Let me ask you this. I emailed you guys out a letter this weekend. It was a letter that the administration was sent on February 1st. The letter was sent by doctors Bird and Voss, before I had emailed you guys that that letter. Can I get a show of hands? How many of you knew about that letter, or how many of you had seen that letter prior to me emailing it to you?
Could you say that again, please?
Yeah, it was the letter that the IU Health physicians were pulling out of the crisis center. Prior to my email of that letter, had any of you seen or heard about that letter? Can I get a show of hands of who had heard of it? You guys need to be asking questions about that. There is no reason that I should be bringing you guys documentation. And part of the reason that Counselor Basham doesn't like answering questions of me or doesn't want to or whatever he's doing is because I hold this administration accountable. And what needs to happen is, that's not my job. It is, but that's your jobs. So if you guys would start doing that, maybe we could have a little less adversarial relationship, because that at the end of the day is your job. Well, finally, I want to end by saying I thank Mr. Bishop for getting up here and talking about the MRC the way that he did. I think it's interesting that we have an appointment to a board who's getting up here and saying a lot of the same things that I'm saying, having problems communicating, having problems getting information. We're having a board member that wants to get notes and minutes out to the board. We can't get, board members can't get records from the city. It's ridiculous. This is not what this administration ran on. And while the administration is not you guys, it's your jobs to be the checks and balances against the administration. And if they're not doing their job, hold their feet accountable. Thank you.
That's it. I am looking for any member of the you're the only, but you're not attending.
What's the question? Oh, no, I'm not invited.
Well, my question is, and unfortunately Mr. Ivy left, with only one council person going, I've been made aware that the administration has told some of my constituents that the meeting is no longer public. And that concerns me, because for the past 3 weeks, I've been telling my constituents that the meeting is public. And I know of 2 of them that are driving to Angola to attend the meeting. And so I guess I would just like some answers from the administration as to whether this is a public meeting or if it's now a private meeting. Mr. Basham, do you know?
I do not know.
Okay.
Ms. Bell, Councilwoman Powell, I think if I recall and that's going based on memory, I think there was an email that was sent out, and correct me if I'm wrong, that it's no longer.
I thought so too.
Okay.
I think so
It's no
too.
longer a public meeting?
I think so
Yeah.
too.
Because there were less than 5. I think the
I think so
indication was
too.
less than
I'm almost positive I saw that too.
Is
Yeah.
it still
I'm not-
advertised at the front door as a public meeting?
Yeah, that was what was told. I'm not sure if I'm considered part of the administration or not, but I did attend the department head meeting in May and was told by the mayor, he told everybody it was a public meeting. Now, since then, I have had no communication or updates from anybody telling me different. I'm just hearing the same things you're hearing, and people are asking me, and I honestly don't know.
Well, and I think this is a good idea, and I appreciate the mayor creating opportunities to increase communication between city government. So that's not the issue. But I just want to make sure that I'm passing on and have passed on accurate information to the neighborhood associations in my district. So I guess follow-up would be then to contact Mayor Ridenour tomorrow. So,
Ain't throwing you out there.
all right. Well,
You're good there.
all right, thank you.
Do you have any more
That's
questions?
That's enough.
Okay. All right.
That's enough.
Okay.
Hey, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Have a second?
They-
We're adjourned.